and that was actually found in the trash. It was full of dirt and everything.
That's a great story, man.
I took that thing home and stuck all the dirt. I mean, literally, there was literally dirt inside. And I'm not talking dust, I'm talking dirt. I shook all the dirt out, took the casing off, got it all up. And I cleaned each individual tube one at a time, made sure the sockets were all clean. Then take the bottom off and got all the dust and cobwebs out of there with a good brush and a blower, from air compressor, spraying in there, getting all the dirt out of that. And then all I did is I just plugged it in. I just crossed my fingers and turned the knob to turn it on. And Lord behold, it lit up. All the tubes lit up. The lights lit up. And I was in shock. And I looked at the microphone, and the microphone literally it looked like crap. It was so dirty. And I got all that all clean, took the mic apart, cleaned that all out and everything. Put a battery in it, plugged that thing in. My first radio check, Pensacola, Florida.
Your first old tube radio check?
Yes.
And speaking of old tube radio checks, this is the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Greetings to you.
Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
We certainly hope the station for you is the Old Tube Radio Network. I think I'm set up here so I won't fall out of the air chair. 27085 is where we are at in Central California on a Saturday evening, waiting for the tube radio operators and collectors to stop by and shout here to the Old Tube Radio Net Control and tell us what they're running. Maybe get a mic check. Give us something old. Something older, I would say something new, but this is the Old Tube Radio Network. I'm going to stand by. My name is Dennis, and we'll see who's out there tonight. OTR listening.
Number 7. You on a new day. 40.
All right, we got a lot of stations. We have basically an old tube radio pileup going on. So we've got SWL7. Ed, step up to the microphonium. We'll take you for our first check-in. Then I've got SWL25 is also standing by, and I believe I heard SWL45. So that'll get us started for the first 3. And there were some stations, so don't go away. If you've got a tube radio, we will be talking to you tonight, that's for sure. I want to say hello to our viewers at the Google YouTube who are listening in, watching in, and we will try as we go along to provide some video content, some photos, if you will, likenesses of the radios checking in, so you can kind of get a bird's eye view, perhaps. Thanks to those listening still at oldtuberadio.net on the new tube radio stream. In the meantime, SWL7, hello, Mr. Ed, and start us off here at 9:06.
Okay, well, this time, bringing by the Lafayette Comstat 25 Bravo.
Comstat 25B. All right, let me pull up the old archives here. I know that we have one of those, and that is, if I recall, the Lafayette in the Comstat series, when it got to the 25B, it was much, much different than just about any Lafayette that came before that. The audio sounds great, so we'll get a shot of the 25B as you give us another transmission. Over.
There you go. That's pretty much the radio there. It has a Turner Plus 3 microphone attached. Looks like that one says Lafayette Range Boost, but no, it looks about like the same thing now down there, but it's not.
You know, we have a couple pictures. Sometimes they have the red, like an insert on the channel selector. And yours does have sort of I'll call it the chrome and blacked out face there.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a black strip on top and brushed aluminum basically on the bottom.
3 knobs, place to put your microphone in on down there. Of course, your channel selector, and yeah, that's about it. Oh, there is a little modulation light on the right-hand side that lights up, of course, on modulation peaks.
Alrighty, I see the big red glowing light that's there. I'm not sure if that's the modulation or on the air. Cliff, whose picture this is from SWL35, is pretty ingenious when it comes to photographing the radios and making sure if there's something that happens during modulation that he's got the microphone keyed and inserting audio some way. So that's probably what we are seeing there. Lafayette Comstat 25B, one of the, from Lafayette anyway, one of the Panasonic chassis from Japan that always sound good no matter whose name is on the front of the box. That one doing quite well for Radio 1. Give us another transmission. Thanks for getting us started off, and I'm going to keep on going after your key down.
Copy that. Oh, and here, let's see. There, that's with the range boost to the off, range boost in the off position, and there, range boost in the on position. There should be some difference.
There is definitely some difference. The range boost for how you have the microphonium set up is definitely sounding a little bit better in the on position, but that was a good demonstration on what it does do or what it can do and when it's working properly, which yours is. Thanks for bringing it by. And if you've got a radio to check in, don't go away. We've got a couple here in the queue, but we will get to you no problem tonight, however long that might take. Radio number 2 from Jerry out there in Madera Heights, SWL 25. Hello, radio.
Hello, Dennis. I'll just make this real quick. From downtown, beautiful Burbank, California, the General Radio Telephone MC5, VFO or special controlled 8-channel, I believe, and by golly, it's been kind of a project. Get this thing back on the air, and hopefully it's working. Back to you, Dennis.
Working great. Sounds good. General Radio Telephone MC5, the Master Control 5, late 1962 or 1963 when that showed up at your local electronics store. Photo courtesy of Paul, SWL 45, who we'll be talking to next. So, Paul, thanks for lending your radio here. I think, was it last week? Yeah, we had a general radio telephone kind of evening. We'll see what happens tonight. Radio sounding good for number 2. We'll go back to you. Perhaps you'd like to test out a few of the extra items.
Yeah, okay, Dennis. By the way, I'm talking. I know we're not supposed to be running our microphone on at least this particular radio, but it seems to be working. It's a Turner Plus 3B, and just got it barely cracked open, so hopefully it's not flat topping or doing anything goofy. And yes, there is a signal alert, tone alert, that I'll demonstrate here in a second, and throw it back to you. By the way, 37, Chris was in that pilot too, so I'm sure he's anxious to check something in. So just very quickly, I'll do the tone alert and throw it back to you, Dennis.
Okay, I'm waiting the tone alert over.
Thank you, Jack.
And there it is, doing its thing, the Martian walk. I don't know what we call it officially, but they call it tone. I was looking at the picture. I had to look at the picture. The tone signal is what I believe the engineering staff at General Radio Telephone out of beautiful downtown Burbank would call that, and a beautiful tone signal it was. Thanks, Jerry, for radio number 2, and we'll add, Chris, you're added into the mix here. Head on into the green room as Paul, SWL 45, steps up to the microphonium. I want to say hello to Smarty, who made it back. Thanks to those of you who made it back to the video. I know it's a little bit disconcerting to have the SWL video kind of dump out on you and then have to go load up another one. If there's a way for me to figure that out that makes it work well, I will certainly try. But in the meantime, thanks for clicking on the right links to get back. OBP, knowing it's tube time, and Larry785. Hello to you. Also, before I check in, Paul, I want to say hello to SWL13, Mr. Cobra, who is out waving a hand at oldtuberadio.net. Thanks, Mike. So, radio number 3. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, I would say hi to Jerry. Old 5 is sounding good, Jerry. Anyway, I'd like to check in my ICO Centennial 23.
Nice. It has been a while since we have had any radio from EICO, EICO, the Electronic Instrument Company. I believe, who told me that first? I think it was Phil, SWL76, who elucidated me on the EICO. Looking for the Sentinel 23, if we've got one on the video portion. Yeah, okay. An interesting radio, and we'll go back to you for a transmission.
Yeah, that's the radio I'm talking on right here. Very clean radio. And more so clean. If you open it up and look inside of the tube, it's got all copper chassis on the thing. Just beautiful. Shiny and pretty. Not too sure where these were manufactured. I hope maybe you can fill me in on that. I think we went through this last time we had this thing. Do you remember?
Can I tell you that? I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Allied radio look to it. I can tell you it's got 10 tubes, running all 6-volt tubes except for the receive converter, 12BE6. And I'm just looking to see if I can find something about EICO. I don't have that information just yet. Over.
Yeah, well, it didn't come out in the Sam's book. Of course, they wouldn't tell you anyway if it's made in Japan. I don't think they might, though. Other than that, I haven't found hardly any information on this thing. I have to check my old CDs, magazines, and all that. I'm going to find it somewhere. I'm sure curious. I think it's made in Japan. What do you think there, Dennis?
I'm thinking that could be possible. It has the look of another chassis that I'm thinking of, but for this particular one, might have been at the end of the line of the tube radios for EICO. They made quite a few. I've been looking at the database here, and EICO wasn't just a one radio wonder. They did many. So I think we were thinking along the same lines that this might have been an import radio. And Steve reporting the halftime score for the Bulldogs, 16-7, with the Bulldogs ahead. So the audio is good. Do you have? I see a switch on the side. Is that a range? The little red switch. Is that a range boost? Over.
No, it's just got a PA on the thing, and of course the CB. Nothing other than the meter. It's got a modulation light. No, and it's got a modulation meter. It's an S meter only. And it's got a light at, of course, 11 to 23, and it's got 22A in the thing. That's interesting. And volume 12, that's it. It's a real plain radio.
Putting in a good signal. Just popped up the S meter for you there. No problem on that. Audio sounds good. So it's a keeper. And like I mentioned before, we have not had an EICO on the list here for quite some time. So those who are like in the Electronic Instrument Company, they will like this radio. Give us another transmission and we'll continue on with Radio 4, but your Radio 3 is sounding good here at the Old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I want to see what it looks like on your meter there down below. It hasn't come in yet. I guess it comes in later. Is that correct?
Yeah, take a transmission, and I'll make sure I'll go to the meter side here. Let's see, that's the camera picture. I got to remember which one is looking at the S meter. All right, go ahead and take a transmission, and then it will show up eventually here.
Okay. Look, it just clicked out. My iPad just lost it. Oh, well. Well, anyway, while I'm watching anyway, I'd like to know what you think of putting out. It's a neat deal to get there, Dennis. And we'll get back There you got it working, but it's not showing anything on there. I don't mean to, I don't want to hog. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, 7.9. That's good. Thank you very much. I don't want to hog it, so back to you.
Yeah, the radio has a lot of forward modulation. My meter sort of hangs out at S7. That's where the noise level it is, and I have the RF gain set. So 7 is the bass. 7 is the noise floor, and notice as you are talking, it's heading up toward an S9. And a lot of forward modulation, so that gives it that extra little punch, even though the signal per se might not be as good as you think it should be. The audio coming out of that is doing a good job with the way it's set up. So that radio is set up fine. Lots of headroom in the audio. Radio number 3, the ICO Sentinel 23 on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you, Paul, for that. And let's head over to Radio 4 that should be coming from SWL 37. Hello, Chris.
Yeah, hello, Dennis. This is SWL 37. Dennis, we are going to check in my general radio telephone, the Super MC11A. This is the 24-channel version of all those, I guess. They may have more, may have less. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're running here with a handheld stock microphone. Over.
Stock microphone sounding good. The breaking station that breaks for OTR, we do acknowledge you. We'll get you after the radio check-in here. Hopefully you are not a refugee, a halftime refugee from the game. So we'll try and get you in before any action starts. 9:20 the time. Radio 4 is with us from General Radio Telephone. And I have a really great picture to go with the really great audio that we're hearing from that Super MC11A. Back to you.
Man, at least I had to get one in here. I've been kind of busy here doing stuff around here, but if I can, I will try to get in another one. I'm not going to promise you, but if I can, I will. If not, I'll be here next week.
No problem. Hopefully we will be here next week as well. I think I've got another one of those long Saturday afternoon, morning things happening again. So we will see what happens. Radio number 4 from Chris, looking good and sounding good with the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Thank you, sir. And there was a breaking station for OTR. I'm listening for you.
Dennis, real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you got a free time one day this week, give me a holler. Except for Tuesday, I have to be at a funeral. My wife's mother passed away, so we got to go down there for that. But I will be home Monday and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know.
Okay, I have noted that, and I will make an effort. I think that might be a possibility. Thanks.
Okay.
Who was the breaking station for OTR? Over. All right, 650. And what was the letter on the sonar model? Over. All right, sonar model E. Sounds like it is. What do they say? Almost new old stock in very good condition. Sounds like. Over. Okay, well we have a couple of radios. That's the Sonar Model E, which is a very good talking radio. We have checked in a few here, and they always sound good with the stock microphones. There are a lot of fans of Sonars. The Demco Travelier that Steve mentioned earlier, also available. So that's 650. I don't know if you have it posted or listed anywhere else where people could take a look at it, but we are now aware. All right, who is that to contact? Over. All right, yeah, Mark, 50. Very good. All right, thanks for that. Always appreciate our tube radio operators that give us the opportunity here to keep the radios around in the area or wherever you might be to get them on the air. That's the whole thing of this. I'd like to have them on the air in good hands and doing what they're supposed to do, which is keying down and sounding good. Thanks. And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's head over to the other studio so I can get a drink of water here. I think all that fresh air today, I noticed getting a sore throat. I couldn't stand all that fresh air. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
We're looking for Radio 5.
Number 7.
Hello, Ed. Let me mark you in here for Radio 5. My numbers are kind of off here. It says, why does it say 32? It should be Radio 5. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll go with the Elmer Fudd type situation from Johnson, the Messenger 223.
E.F. Johnson, always a good selection. They made, as far as I know, for 11 meters, for Class D, the big three, the Messenger, the Messenger 2, and the one you have, which is the big Messenger 2, or the 223 with all 23 channels, and the S meter. And I think everything after that was solid state. So give us a transmission.
Yeah, super simple radio. Just turn it on, set your volume, set the channel selector, and key it up. Oh, and you have to have the microphone plugged in, or there's no receive.
And breaker acknowledged. Don't go away. Well, I think that is an indication. If you have to have a microphonium plugged in to get received, that's an electronic, what do they call it, electronic switching, something like that. So good to know. It threw off a lot of people in the day where they thought, well, the radio's no good. This has to have that microphone to complete the circuit. There's a great shot of a 223, and we'll go to you again for some audio from Radio 5.
There you go. That one is just like this one. Does not have the modulation light in it, although this one has some blue LEDs and some buffalo nickels in place of the little spots for the knobs on the radio. Anyway, that's it.
That's it, but that is enough. Let me go over, take one more transmission, and we'll switch over to the S meter cam, and everybody can see what a great signal you put in here at Net Control.
There you go. Well, hopefully this one will be doing pretty well. It's kind of average on the radio. It peaks up almost at 12 watts at the maximum. So there you go. With that one, we'll get another radio ready.
And that's a good thing on a Saturday night. The Old Tube Radio Network, a good 20 dB over S9 signal with some forward modulation to boot. Thanks for that. Looking good. Checking the room, checking the board here, see if I need to make any comments or criticisms on. I say, okay. See, a few of you have found the video page. Hello, Corey. And he's given us some kudos on our radio check-ins as well. The breaking station, I believe that was Harvey. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's me. You were going to tell me about the audio?
Yeah, sounds like you are using a different mic. If you're on the standard set, sounds like you're using a different microphone.
How does it sound? What's the difference?
It sounds good. You are nice and loud. You just have absolutely no low frequencies. Probably everything rolled off from 400 hertz down. But other than that, you're sounding good.
Okay, it is not the standard set. This is another Golden Eagle, but it is with the microphone from the other Golden Eagle. This one is, well, I do have the range boost on because Paul wanted to make sure he could hear me. I just picked this one up, and the other one has the one I use all the time, has the transmitter with the on-air light, and the receiver that I'm going to assume is the Model A with the 3-position RF gain switch type thing. This one also has the transmitter with the on-air light, but the receiver definitely is the Model B. Says so on the back, and has the RF gain control, which I really like. Anyway, just picked this one up. Every single tube in the receiver needed to be replaced. Should have seen this thing when I first fired it up with the old tubes. Barely heard anything, and barely got a ping. But got all the replacement tubes. Excuse me. Had a tune-up. I still have to go through all the controls and all. I am going to make the modification for the higher frequency channels that my other one has. But it's working.
It is working. The audio is definitely not up to par or comparable to the other one, I don't think. It also is a little around the edges. I don't know. Just a little bit. I don't know if you were listening to the archives, if you'd be able to tell or not without a direct A/B comparison to the other one. But it's got a good signal, probably comparable to the other one, and the audio is loud and crisp, and there's no problem in copying at all. Over.
Okay, I'm going to reach in and lower the gain on the transmit microphonium here. Okay, how's that? Any difference?
Well, I didn't know you had the pop top on that thing. I didn't hear too much difference. You know, I actually had. Oh no, I don't have. I should put the S meter up so I can see what you're doing. And just confirming, this is an R68 T68.
Yeah, Roger. R68 T68 with the Model B receiver. I finally found one, and I missed out on another setup with the Model A receiver, but it had the model, what I'm calling the Model B transmitter, with the spotlight in place of the on-air light. I'm going to do some research next week, and next Saturday I may know which transmitter was first, and technically which, well, I am assuming this is the second version of the receiver because it says Model B.
All right, I guess that would be a good assumption. Yeah, audio just has it has a little bit of a rough edge to it, but it sounds like an Eagle. That is not a problem. Eagles definitely don't have a lot of low frequency in the audio, but this one seems to be missing even a little bit more. So I don't know if you need to play with, what do they use for the audio on that? 12AX7? I don't know if you need to play with the audio tubes or not. You say you're using the same microphonium as the other one. And I know that microphone always sounds good, so it's interesting. But I think you have a find there, and as you know, you're very familiar with the radio. As we go through the weeks of OTR, and we've heard it before with radios on Harvey's bench, as he does the, I hate to say peaking and tweaking, as he does the adjustments, as he does the fine-tuning, that's the word I'm looking for, as he does the fine-tuning week after week, we hear the radios expand and come alive even more. Radio number 6. Take another transmission, and I'm watching, if you made an adjustment, we're watching the S meter here too.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'll put the microphone on the other unit, and when the opportunity arises, I will key that one up and see what. It could be the microphone. I mean, I made the mistake of leaving it in this week. Usually I take the mic out, put it in the house, so the heat doesn't get to it. I forgot. Well, actually, I was gone last week, so it was 2 weeks out here. Anyway, so who knows? Maybe the head is not working as well as it should. Okay, I'm going to hook it up to the other one, and then I'll be right back.
All right, don't go away. What's that? Bozo Control is yeah, okay. Oh, no, that's a good suggestion. Bozo Control says before you do anything with the microphonium, just to make sure that we don't have a mismatch, and you know what I'm talking about, give us a transmission without the Harvey range boost so we can just kind of listen to the audio tones again.
Give me a second to flip the switch. I'll be right back.
All right, yeah, stay the same distance from the microphone and things like that. Sometimes, you just never know. We're listening.
Number 7 on the side.
Okay. I still left the microphone down, and no range.
All right, I see a little forward movement, but I'm hearing the same audio, just less of it, less loudness. So not what I was thinking. And Breaker acknowledged. You will be next. So yes, the item that you wanted to try, go ahead.
Okay, give me a second to switch the mic and flip the switch, and then I'll be back.
All right, and I want to wave a hand to Crazy Bob DJ. Hello, sir. Good to have you listening and watching on the net. Crazy Bob, no stranger to good-sounding radios, whether they be classic, vintage, pre-1977 23-channel or tube radios. Has a great website where I often learn that I don't know a lot of things, because I learn and think, well, I didn't know that. It's like, thanks, Crazy Bob. Also, he has the greatest collection of, and even back in the day, I didn't realize this, of the SWL cards that were tossed around in the CB days, 11-meter SWL cards. I always thought that was sort of a taboo thing to do, because a lot of times you were trying to stay stealthy. But I always enjoy Crazy Bob's SWL card collection. All right, I think that should be enough chatter here, and we'll see if Harvey is back.
Yeah, I'm back. Oh yeah, this has a whole lot more audio gain. Yeah, I'm looking at the meter. Now, okay, the other one is quite a bit older, I think. But here you go.
All right, and this has that extra EQ that you're missing on the other one, in the low frequencies, like below 500 hertz. It is just there, and it fills out. I think that's where we're missing some of the audio frequencies and the loudness on the other one. Interesting. So who knows? Who knows what could be lurking in the audio section of radio number 2?
Hey, Roger. Okay, well, this is the other R68T68. This will be the Model A receiver. On that transmitter, I think I replaced chaps, but I do have a schematic on it, but it's a small paper schematic. I'm going to have to look at it. Basically, I have to see where the audio, the tone originates from in the circuit. I think I know where,
And basically, if that capacitor starts to go bad, the tone changes. And you can actually, similar to a tram, which has an audio, which has a tone control for transmit, the circuitry I can use in the Browning, I can figure it out, I hope, and see what you have to do. And I will have to do that in this other one and see what the deal is. Okay, that should be it for me tonight. I've been doing a lot of work moving radios around, etc. So I have to rest. Anyway, we'll turn it back to you. We'll catch you next week then.
All right, thanks, Harvey. Yeah, you may have pegged it there. Something in the audio coupling caps is off or restricting, and that's what it sounds like, restricting some frequencies. I just want to know where those were. I'd like to replace some of those to allow even more low frequencies. Browning had a way of like you said, tailoring their audio sections so it sounded like Browning. It will fight you. If you try to add a lot of low frequencies into a Browning through an audio rack, like this garbage over here, it just won't take it. It will just, those little capacitors will say, and it ain't going to happen. So maybe you've got one that's a little bit overboard. Anyway, it's there, as you will hear if you watch the playback or listen to the archives. Plenty of signal. The audio is crisp on the high ends, and if you can fine-tune it on the lower frequencies and smooth it out, it probably should sound every bit as good as your other Browning Golden Eagle as well. Thanks for checking in. Any more items of interest? We've got another station standing by, but first I want to make sure you've got everything going.
Yeah, I think it might be this mic. It's starting to go, although you say I sound okay. Anyway, I'm going to do some research, see what I can do with that other one. But the main reason I got it was the receiver. Anyway, it's working. I'm happy. And I'll let you go. Catch you next week.
Okay, do not fault the microphone. The microphone sounds good. You got full tone quality. Not skipping a beat at all on the original Browning Lavatories Golden Beagle. It is just something on the other radio on the audio circuit that's restricting, makes it a little rough around the edges and restricting the low frequencies. So, I think using that microphone as your test is still good. It's sounding fine. So thanks for that. The Old Tube Radio Network, trying to catch up on our radio check-ins here from a slow start. So I thank the Tube Radio operators for being patient tonight. And we have radio number 7, I do believe, and Mr. Ed at the microphonium. Hello.
And this time, Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
All right, boy, that's 1, 2, and then the other one, almost the 3. I guess, in theory, 3 in a row in the Brownings. This would be the next, after the one that Harvey was on. I think the official next radio on that would be the Mark II, and then the Mark III, where they combined, if you have the SSB, which I think you said you do, combined the sideband adapter and made the big transmitter. Give us a transmission.
Yes, it is the SSB, 32 inches across with both pieces next to each other side by side. So you got to have a pretty decent sized table just to put the radio on. But hey, for a Browning, you make the room.
You make the room, whether you stack them side by side, which you say you're doing, or as we show in the picture here, which actually is a little bit better for my aspect ratio. You stack them on top of each other. And I think that's probably why Cliff did that for the photograph. Maybe not the best thing to do for convection cooling radios where you have heat going up into the other radio. But, tubes don't complain about heat as much. Transistors, they do not like hot conditions. Tube radios, they won't complain too much. They'll just keep on going. Give us another transmission on the Browning. It sounds great.
Oh, and this one, like that one you have in the picture, has the Golden Eagle D104 limited edition, gold-plated number and all that.
Sounding good, looking good. And if you're going to have a top-of-the-line radio for 1972 that was the top-of-the-line price and still commands at least that price these days, might as well put a decent matching microphonium as well. Sounds good. Give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
And thank you, Dennis. And with that, we'll see if we can't get one more.
One more is a good thing, and the jingle singers are saying, can we have one more? And I'll say, sure. Let me open up the ribbon microphones in Studio B, and here they go.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And we are waiting for radio number 9. All right, we had 2, I believe, like two mints in one. Let's go with, I heard Paul, and Paul, step up to the microphonium, but I wanted to check, was the other station, was that Jerry?
Roger, go ahead, Paul.
All right. Catch you in the green room, Jerry. We'll be right with you. You will be Radio 10, taking us into double digits. But first, SWL 45. Hello, Paul. What have you connected the coax to now? Over.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jerry. This is my realistic TRC X23A.
Sounds like you're speaking in old tube radio code. Give me the model number again. Over.
I'll make it easier for you, I hope. Tango Romeo Charlie X-ray 23 Alpha.
Spoken in great amateur radio or two-way radio phonetics. Oh, I think last time, you may have checked this in not too long ago, and I recall having some issues in trying to find a proper picture for this. Is this... how many channels is this radio?
You want me to repeat it or what?
No, I'm just wondering, how many channels is this, the radio you're on?
It's a 23 channel. What I brought it for is actually identical, except for all the knobs are in different positions, as my ICO Centennial 23. It's got the same controls on it exactly, just different areas they put it in there. And this radio here is definitely made in Japan, so I think that's just a twin. I think that maybe solved the mystery on the thing. Back to you.
All right, and who makes this? Is it Allied or is it Realistic?
Come back on that?
The manufacturer of this radio, did you say it was Allied or Realistic?
This is a Realistic.
Okay, I think I may have found the proper item that I'm looking for, if I can get all the cameras and things to work here properly. Let me punch it up and see if we're getting close here on the Realistic. Over.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the same radio I'm talking about, not the one I'm talking about, but that's the same as what I got here. They're identical ones. Just a nice clean radio like the other one was with it, and it's got the same thing. It's got the copper on the polished aluminum side and everything on it, and it's got all the copper chassis too on the thing. So it's just got to be a twin to it, but reversed everything inside. Anyway, it's a real nice radio. Back to you.
It is. It has really good audio too, so I'll have to compare. Let's see, you were Radio 3. I'll have to go back in the archives and compare the audio, because I remember that had also good audio. Sometimes the way to check is you can say, well, both microphones will work, or the same microphone will work in the radio, because the circuit is close that way. I'm looking at the channel selector looks about the same. The meter's in the same position. I see what you're saying.
Come back. I got a real whining noise level up here that's really bad. Please come back.
Okay, I was just looking at the way the radio was laid out, and like I said, the channel selector and the S meter and most everything almost looks the same on the front compared to the other one.
Yeah, just move them. Just move the. See, the meter's on the left-hand side on this one, and it's on the right-hand side on the ICO. Same exact idea. I mean, unless it's just a coincidence, but I don't think it is. It's just real clean, easy to operate radio, and it works well.
Works well, and it sounds great, and really nice audio. I guess what I should do before we change over is add the S meter to the mix here, so I can compare both that with the ICO. So give me another transmission. Yeah, Paul, give me another transmission, over.
Steady, D104M6.
Yeah, the D104 is a good choice, I think, for any radio, whether you have the amplifier in the bass or not. For a tube set, you can't go wrong. You are radio number 9 on the Realistic TRC X23, and I agree with you. That is a definite clone from the Icon. Who knows? There may be a few others that shared the chassis with that. All right, who did I say? Thanks, Paul. Who did I say was radio? Oh, I know. I couldn't find my notepad. I was going to say, who did I say was radio 10? And I see 25 jumping up and down.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not jumping up and down. I'm actually been in the green room with the Jingle Singers, eating pretzels and drinking beers. So thank you for the accommodations there, Dennis. Anyway, 25 checking in on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. And, but I know Ed checked his in earlier. The only difference would be this one has the banana mic. Instead of the D104. Anyway, two-piece radio with the spot button and 23 channel. And anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Back to me in the studio. Sounds great. I am familiar with that radio as I have seen it firsthand, and also taken a few transmissions on it during net control. Over.
Yes, you have, and it is waiting for you to do the same at another convenient opportunity. So, and the red on the air light is glowing and beaconing, and anyway, thanks for checking it in.
Alrighty, 7.
And thanks for allowing me to check it in. As I say many times, I do appreciate our tube radio operators who take time out of their Saturday evenings from family activities, or maybe it's watching the Fresno State game, as at halftime they were ahead by a touchdown. But our SWLs, myself, we do enjoy listening to the tube radios, reminding us of the days when we wish we had tube radios, but we just couldn't afford them, and it's a good thing. Did I hear if there was another radio check-in? Over?
Oh, yes, you did.
All right, well, you would be number 11 if indeed you have an old tube radio, over.
Oh, that I definitely indeed do have an old radio. So anyway, Dennis, this is SWL 37. That's right, 37. The old man in the wheelchair out here, but this ain't the general. We're checking in on our G PowerMate Gem Marine product. This is a 23-channel model of this. A pretty blue one, and we are running this one here with the amplified D104 Lollipop, a TUG9 stand.
And you say that is the amplified version, over?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's sounding a little different tonight. Maybe it's just my headphones are on backwards.
What's it doing? Not doing right, or what?
No, it's good. I think usually you have maybe a little louder audio, but the audio is nice and clear, so not a problem that way, over.
Well, you know, let me see something here. Just a second here. I've got a golden keyboard here. Is that any better?
Oh, that might be. Give us a longer transmission.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you know, I haven't changed this battery in I don't know how many years, so, you know, that could be the problem.
Could be, yeah. You don't want any more audio than that. You don't want any more audio than that, then it won't be clear. But it is doing well. We have procured a photo of what appears to be that very radio, because it says it is the Gem Marine PowerMate from your collection.
Yes, and it shows everything here. Yep, it is working. See that wiggle meter wiggling there, and that was wiggling too, and that other one just sits still.
Okay, and I think you have made the adjustment, putting the audio up back where I remember it from prior check-ins.
Like I say, I've never touched it, so more than likely it's just the battery has gotten weaker, just like I have.
Either that, or sometimes when controls, potentiometers and all that, they set in one position too long, sort of like myself, they have trouble moving about.
Well, you know, that is true, you know. Every once in a while, the general, it gets stubborn, like when it stays on channel 11, I have to mess with the knob once in a while and make it contact.
Well, that's why we're here on Saturdays, so if you forget or didn't make that contact, you know the Old Tube Radio Network will be out here on Saturday nights. And one thing we've noticed, and as the radios age, or as they progress towards 1972, 73, 74, 75, and a lot of the original early manufacturers drop in the early 60s and mid-60s, manufacturers sort of drop by the wayside, or start doing solid-state radios, sort of like companies today, you know, like big corporations. They start consolidating, so you get one radio that sort of looks like another radio, and if you actually look at the schematics of the chassis, you realize that this is the same, you know, this T-Berry is the same as the Colt or whatever. And so the start in the early 70s, the start of, you know, everything's a unit in chassis, or everything's the Panasonic chassis. And that's one thing we've noticed here. But the good thing is, if it starts out with a great sounding chassis to begin with, it doesn't matter what the name is on the front. It's going to sound good as well. So yours is one of those, the Gem Marine products, probably very similar to what, a T-Berry, or a T-Berry Model T, or the Robin T123 Bravo, something like that. It's sounding good. Give us another transmission.
And the Chris 23, it looks the same.
It also sounds good, but since they've, you know, changed the front, it should be in the collection. Don't get rid of it.
All right, Dennis. I checked it in for tonight. I'm about done for tonight. I'm kind of tired.
All right, it has been one of those fun-filled weekends, certainly for me, and it's not. It's only about half over. Coming up to 10 o'clock hour, but I want to make sure, since we got kind of a late start here, that any stations, or all stations that are firing up radios, get a chance to do so and get them checked in. The Jingle Singers, of course, would like to tell us about the top of the hour. Let them do that, and then we'll see. We have our radio number 12 here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
listening in the latest style. That's
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
7.
Hello, 7. With Radio 12. I'm having to modify. Something happened to my list. It did not print out right. I'll have to redo this. I'm drawing. I'm physically. Can you see that? I'm going to show everybody. I'm physically having to draw lines. This looks like the really early days. Before we had. We started this before we had computers and printers. That's so long ago. And in the very early check-in sheets, we actually did by hand. So that's reminding me of that. So I'm going to draw the lines down. Sort of looks like my homework I did in 5th grade. All right, go ahead.
This time I'm going to take the Tram TR27 Echo. 23-channel transmit and 23-channel receive.
Fans, my key down, yeah. Fans of Tram who are used to hearing the Diamond series, the later models. Let's go back to, I think it's 1963 or 64, and there was this TR series, TR27. They made various versions of it. There's a Charlie model and I think a no model, just a 27. Here is what I believe to be the final in that series. We'll pop up a photo and we'll have Ed give us another transmission. This was the top of the line for Tram back in 1963, I believe. Go ahead.
Yep, that is correct. 1963. This was their big radio. In fact, it is kind of a big radio. Nice big S meter, 5x7 speaker. The S meter is 3 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide. Man, there's nothing small about it.
If you are a true SWL, this is the meter you want. If you are used to sitting in front of your Hallicrafters SX101 or SX99 with the huge S meter, this is right out of that playbook for sure. And I would imagine with that long throw on the needle, if you got somebody that was out in front with the mobile radio with the linear amplifier, you could maybe perhaps actually bend that thing.
Yeah, well, actually, I've never seen anybody put it all the way to the end, so I think you would have to park underneath my antenna with a little extra something to help.
And in 1963, this is no import radio. This is not made in Japan for sure. I'm going to pop up the S meter cam, and we'll see if this one is making the, typically you're at about 20 over S9. We'll see if this one's making 20 over.
Oh, I'm sure this one will definitely be in the overside of it. It makes a little bit more wattage than my others, so this one definitely puts out the most. So it should be just a little over 20 anyway.
Yeah, it's right at 20 on the unmodulated key down, and when you really drive that microphone on my sorry digital S meter, you will actually get another bar to show up. So, indeed, doing a good job. Radio number 12, the Old Tube Radio Network, Tram TR27E. Sounding good. Give us another transmission, and it's getting close to that bewitching hour here.
Very cool, TR. And with that, I'll let you get to that other breaker and listen to the rest of the show.
All right, thanks for checking tonight. Radio 12, Tram doing a good job. The breaking station for OTR, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis, this is 131. I've been absent a couple of times here now. Just turned it on to see if you were still there. I've been away from home for a few days.
Hey, not a problem. We have people that say exactly that. They say, you know, I've been away from my radio for the last 27 years, and I just happened to turn it on Saturday nights to see if you guys were still there. And we try to give them a check-in. they might not be on the list anymore, but that doesn't matter. I always say that you don't have to be on any list. You don't have to have ever checked in. You don't need an old tube radio. We are just pleased that anybody is on the CB radio here in 2018. Back in the day when these radios checked in 1963, 1967, especially 1972, 1973, when there were 4 million people on the air, it was tough to get a word in edgewise. I remember the days just waiting on a channel for someone to finish their conversation, doing that 5-minute talk rule, and then someone would break and another conversation would go. You might have to set a half an hour before you could call your station. And of course, if you tune around the channels today when the skip is not in, just your local traffic, it may be hard to find anybody. So as there are some of you out there that do the same thing we do, have a radio night or an old radio night to get people on the air and to generate usage of the radio, that's what we've been doing here. So, John, no problem. We are glad to have you here, and I'm putting the X in the square. John, of course, has been with us in, I guess, one form or another for many years. Over.
Yeah, it's been quite a few years. But yeah. I'm still sitting here on my desk, not on my, 29 LTD Chrome, sitting on my bench top, talking to you.
All right, and we're glad of it. Got you officially checked in on the big board, and thanks for stopping by what we like to call the Saturday night place to be, the Old Tube Radio Network, and the Jingle Singers stepping up to the ribbon and microphone with this.
Are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Thanks, John, and we are counting and amounting, but still listening for your radio check-ins.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead, please.
65, checking in late. Been enjoying the program.
All right. As have I. Most thought I wasn't going to make it. I was stuck up on the big hill tonight, but made it down. SWL 65 with an X in the square. And I think a lot of people also out there with the Fresno State game, which may or may not be over. Sounded like it was a very interesting item. Oh, here we go. Third quarter. That was 13 minutes ago. Third quarter, 16, 14, 11 minutes left in the third. Bulldogs just hanging in there. So, yeah, maybe we should sign off so everybody can go back to the game. Anyway, sir, I thank you for the check-in.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Oh, and I have to get you up on the big part. I checked in on the paper, but let's make it worldwide by doing that. OTR standing by. And they're talking about the knobs on the TR-27E. That may be a good question. It's like, what would be the original knobs? Or they had a 27 and the 27C, and I noticed the knobs sometimes are different. So maybe it's just the factory. I was like, well, here's the knobs we have left, and away they went. Or someone has an old TR-27 or a C, and they use those knobs on the E. Or what is the radio that Ed has with the Buffalo Nickels? So that's right. Mix and match and make your own knobs.
I have seen multiple ones, but mine are the originals that I got with it. But I have a 70C, which has the same color knobs on it also.
That's why we like those parts radios. Looking for Radio 13 if we got it.
I don't have any more hooked up.
Well, that's okay. What is it, 9 after? The game is on. So let's see, the jingle. In fact, I got to get the jingle singers here because they're watching, they're listening to the game. Here we go.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Counting and amounting. I'll be right back. And let me say hello to those who are still hanging out with us over at oldtuberadio.net, and also that we all are glad that our stations in the hurricane zone, looks like for the most part, have survived the wind and the water. And they know how to do that kind of stuff. I think here in Central California, if we had some issues like that, we would not fare as well. Fish Camp, California is still in, up by Yosemite. Also, Big Ben in Liverpool is listening up there in the front row. South Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Maryland. We really appreciate all our stations that tune in from not Central California. And I know a lot of you have the tube radios and do similar things. So keep up the good work. It's always a lot of fun. Centerville, Virginia, Dallas, Georgia, Utah. Hello, Ray. And Chicago. What was it? Was it Steve Allen used to do the Spiegel catalog? Chicago, Illinois, 60609. That is ingrained in my memory. So hello to 60609 area code. There may be a lot more there by now. Counting and amounting, we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
That always wakes me up in the headphones. The fanfare there. I feel like someone is applauding. Who's clapping back there? Because we're over? I don't know. Maybe because we did get 12 radios tonight. Most heard manufacturer, which is, drum roll. Oh, I guess we already have the drum roll. Brownings at 4. You know, that always happens. Whenever the general radio telephones take over 1 week, it seems like the Brownings kind of gang up and make sure they get on the list. Here we go. Lafayette Comstat 25B was our first check-in of the evening. Remember way back when those Lafayettes were like 2 weeks out of the month would always be the most heard radio. Now we're lucky to get one. Did get the 25B. Thanks, Ed, for that. Radio number 2, Jerry on the general radio telephone MC5. Paul on the ICO Sentinel 23 in Realistic Clothing. I don't know. Who really did make that radio? Sounded good anyway. That's Radio 3, Paul, and the Realistic is Radio 9. So if you're listening to the archives, you have to kind of jump back and forth to hear the two. But they sounded great. Both of them sounded good. Radio number 4, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, always loud. Thanks, Chris, for that. Mr. Ed on the E.F. Johnson 223 Messenger for Radio 5. Radio 6 Harvey on the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, the new one with the Model B receiver. He's going to check out why the audio just isn't as crisp with the full fidelity as his regular R68 T68, but everything else is good. Signal's good, and it's got nice audio. Radio 7 was Mr. Ed on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. We added Radio 8 as Harvey's Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, the original he has with a Model A receiver. Radio 9, Paul on the realistic TRCX23. Sounds and looks a lot like the ICO Sentinel 23. The Browning Gold Eagle SSB, Mark III SSB, our fourth Browning and Eating from SWL 25. Chris on the Gemtronics Gemarine G PowerMate for Radio 11 and Radio 12. The Tram TR27C. Sounding good. Let me make sure that I'm not missing any comments here from the video site. Thanks everybody for hanging out there tonight and giving us information. We have a lot of informed viewers and listeners who have done, like a lot of us, been hanging around these radios for a long time and know a lot of good stuff. Also, I wanted to make sure that the other comment page is okay. In the meantime, have a great rest of your evening. Stay safe out there from the weather or the crazies, and we will try and catch you here next week. I have an all-day radio National Association of Federation of Broadcasters Radio seminar going on next Saturday, and I'm hoping that I will actually be out of all the things they do by radio check-in time. If not, I bet there will be stations out here to keep things going. Might even be able to get the audio stream up if I'm not around so that you can hear what is going on as the radios, as they often do on Saturday's parade here across your 11-meter channel 27085. Good night, everybody. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com for keeping the Nixie tubes running. And thanks to all of you for keeping us running on the old Tube Radio Network. Go Dogs.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks a bunch, Dennis. Good night, OTR.
Hey, Dennis. Good show. I got a question for you. On the Tram D201, when you advance the tone control for transmit tone, when you turn it, I guess, clockwise, does that make the tone high-pitched or low-pitched? I have a D201 over here, but I really don't want to hook it up unless I have to. If anybody knows, they can let me know now or call me or whatever. When you advance the control, turning it clockwise, I guess, does your tone go higher or lower? Need to know.
All right, I have one back here, and I typically run it in the full fidelity mode. That is without the lows rolled off. Without the lows rolled off, I can't do the foot switch and reach the radio. So I'm going to check the TTC control, which is nested with the mic gain. And it is almost, but not quite fully clockwise. So I will, if I can get the foot switch to stay down here, I will say that if you go clockwise, you are increasing the low tones, or in this case, not rolling off. I think that's what it does. It actually just attenuates the lows. So when you go fully clockwise, you are allowing the full, whatever fidelity of the input of your microphone to come through and not rolling off the low frequency. Let me see if anybody else has chimed in on that for that. No, okay, but that's what I found on mine. Over.
Did anybody else key up there, Dennis?
I am listening, and I was looking to see if anybody made a comment on any of the pages here. My guess is fully counterclockwise gives you the full fidelity with lows and highs.
Okay, fully clockwise. Put 0.005 fastener in parallel and get it high.
He lost his audio.
Nothing at all.
Okay, you lost your audio for most of that transmission. You were down about 10%. I could tell you were talking and that you were checking as you were going, but take a short key down. I'm not sure exactly what happens. Maybe you moved and something disconnected there.
Ow! I had the range boost on. I forgot about that. Okay. Anyway, basically, I see the circuit. I know what it does, and I know what to do to get it to be low. So I'll experiment with the Browning now. Okay. Catch you next week. Was the tone okay? I mean, the audio?
Yeah, audio is perfect. I'm curious now, you're talking about a tram, or we were talking about a tram and the tone, but are you not working for adjustments on a Browning, or are they the same? I don't recall any tone control in the Browning.
Right, there's no tone control on the Browning. However, the tone control in the tram goes right after the mic gain tube. Into the audio amp tube, it's in between. And the Browning and the tram have the same mic amp and audio amp tubes. So I'm thinking if I change the circuitry in there, in that same spot, as similar as, I can get it, then maybe it'll work. Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay, that sounds right, because I'm guessing here because I'm not looking at the schematic like you, but what I found when I'm running the audio board into the tram, if I roll off towards the counterclockwise, it doesn't add anything. It's just rolling off the low frequencies. So if you go fully clockwise, I think what you found, then whatever your coupling is, it's through everything. It's not adding or subtracting. It's just saying whatever you got. It's just like having nothing, or having everything in line, I guess is what I want to say. So as you roll it the other way, then it starts either adding, a capacitor to roll off the low frequencies or something like that. So that's what you're seeing, right? So you can figure out which one you need to bypass or check out, right?
Roger. Basically, I think what I have to do is take a .005 ceramic cap or something in that range and place it in a certain spot and see how if the tone changes. Okay, I'll let you go. Catch you next week.
All right. Thank you so much. The Old Tube Radio Network, we will be standing by. I don't know what the band conditions are like tonight. I don't know if I'll check out some alternate frequencies on the audio side or not. We will see. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your participation. And as I said before, go Dogs, the Old Tube Radio Network, 73.
Hey, Dennis.
This is the Basic Dennis, over.
Are you still a pen?
Am I still what? Over?
Are you still a pen? Is it too late for a last second check-in?
Oh, no. In fact, I will show. The video is still up. The audio is still up. People are sleeping because it's Sunday, but we're still going. Here's the pen. And I think I know what is about to happen here. So let me be totally prepared so that when the question is asked, I can say, what? Why, certainly. There is the SWL sheet, specifically page number 3. There we go. And let's see, my hand is on the mouse over in the SWL big board, right about in the center of the page. All right, go ahead, sir.
70 checking in, please.
All right, 70 checking in. Up near your neck of the woods today as we were heading up to Meadow Lakes transmitter site for the Society of Broadcast Engineers picnic. SWL 70, hi, Mark. You are checked in and checked in and checked in. Over.
Roger, roger. Thank you very much. Yeah, but it's pretty nice up there, because I know it was pretty nice here until later. It got a little warm, but I've been up on the ridge there. It was a beautiful day.
It was excellent. As I was commenting to some people, I just forgot how much muck and yuckiness is down here in the valley, and we were up high enough to actually, when you looked up, it was like, I remember that color. I remember that blue color in the sky. A little breeze. It smelled great. It was good. So, anyway, living the dream.
Exactly. All right, man. Thank you very much, and have a great evening. Talk to you soon.
All right, 73, thanks for checking in. And if I didn't say it before, we had, 60 SWLs, and now that makes it 61. So I'm doing good. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Going to jump off the video here. Good night, everybody. Thanks for putting up with looking at me. I'm trying to add the
10 meter
S meter. I'm going to add the S meter so you don't see me so much. '73.